been good. I tell you, the work has been good so far. What we want to do now is we've learned hand positions. Have a seat. We've learned hand positions. We've been working on translations. We've been learning on how to isolate each part of our body. And in it, we've gotten things like the hand of God. We've gone to Jesus' hand. We've gone through the marches. And now, at this point, we need to look on rhythms. Now, rhythms you've already learned. You've learned 4 basic ones with the slow and fast, with and without those from the first book and video we put out. And what we're going to do now is add to that vocabulary 2 more rhythms, the ralenti and the saccade. Now, in the ralenti, which is the first one we're going to cover, there is a punctuation called ralentir, with an R at the end. And what it is simply an explosion of movement followed by a slow deceleration. And it's like when I'm afraid or when I'm shocked. That is a ralentir. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go down from an angel squat, not yet. You're going to spring up, and then just before you settle to a stop, you're going to turn to your right and then start to relax it, slower, slower, slower. Start to relax it, slower, slower, slower. Back to the center, up, and then down, and then up, and then down, and then smaller, to the side, smaller, to the side, and walk, walk, walk. Now, the only way to do it is to breathe all together. I'll give you a count, and at the end of 5, 6, 7, 8, you'll have a beat, and then you'll go into it. So everybody into the angel squats. All right? Ready? And 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Smaller. 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. And step, 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 and stop. Good. Have a seat. Now, with that, you can see even how with the walk, I can use that ralentir. Now, ralenti is actually just using both slow motion with and without resistance. Honey, if you would, Marilyn, come up and show this for me. Okay, now the difference between a ralentir and ralenti is the actual rhythm, and it stays in slow motion the whole time. It's basically means slow motion. And what happens in it is you use both slow with and without resistance. Whereas with the ralentir, which is actually considered a punctuation, I have an acceleration or a deacceleration of rhythm. It means literally to slow down, whereas ralenti means slow. So ralenti is slow, and ralentir is to slow down after the explosion or after the movement. Now, if you'll go ahead and show me Marceau's gag rolling forward in fast motion, we'll then reverse that and make it slower, if you would. Okay? Very good. Now, the joy of mime is to be able to take a movement like that and all of a sudden slow it down and stretch it across the space. Show us the déséquilibre and all the points of discomfort, as it were, okay? So if you'll go ahead, honey, and do that again, and as you know the techniques of Marceau, roll in slow motion, and I'll explain to them what we're doing with it, and the points of risk that you're going through, okay? So, if you will, ralenti. She takes this step. You can see the breath as she goes through it. You'll see the point that she catches her foot after this next step. The imbalance, the fear on the face, oh no, and the catching of the foot. However, it's not enough. She continues to roll forward. Hands reach for the floor. Foot goes up. The back, cambre, she's rounded. Now here is the dangerous point of changing the rhythm. She's got to keep it going, keep it flowing. It's got to be smooth. She's got to round the back here as she comes out. If she flattens it too much, she won't be able to get up. She won't put her hands back down as she comes up into the move, finishing the move by looking back where she was and continuing back to her last step of recovery. Stop. Good. Thank you, honey. Have a seat. Now, realize that the motion forward, again, you can, instead of having the leg on the ground, the other variation is to have that leg as high up on the ground as you go into the roll as possible. If you are unsure of your equilibre, or just as a variation, you can have your foot actually on the ground as she did. Okay? Now, the next rhythm that is new to you is the saccade. The punctuation is called saccade. And in the saccade, what you have is just a bounce. Tuck, 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 tuck. It's not like the tuck that goes tuck and ends that we learned on the last video. This one is like hitting a ball or hitting a wall. Boom, 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 boom. Just like with the marche anglaise, where we boom, 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 tuck, tuck, tuck. You have to have that little bounce, bounce, bounce. It's used for mechanical robots. Where we've got that little bounce. The rhythm is called saccade, and what happens in the rhythm, instead of having something that bounces to a stop, tuck, 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 you have something that is continual, tuck, 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 or the hand going tuck, 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 tuck. That's a saccade. Tuck, 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 tuck. Just to show you an example of this, scoot back just a little bit for me. Okay, that's fine. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you something I took off a Greek vase for the Mad Woman. And it was pictures of women, doing different things. And I came up with this movement called the Crazy Woman. And what it is it's using a whole bunch of saccade in the gestures. Now, the fun thing about it is the saccade is such a abrupt break that you're able to create this idea of this woman possessed, as it were. She starts out quite normal, and she walks forward. Didn't have to fix your hair. Okay, now next thing we're going to go into is concept identification, which is very much like the object identification, with the exception of it deals not with just objects, but with abstract concepts such as time, such as mass of something, distance. So we're not only identifying an object, we're identifying with an abstract. Now it's dealt with quite well in the book, so I don't need to get too far into it. I just want to show you a couple of the ideas. Remember, the first one was time. And with it, time is always seen with that équilibre, that balance. If it's the future, it's with the balance forward. If it's in the present, it's now, it's here. It's with a central balance. And if it's talking about the past, then generally the concept will have you leaning back. So I can look into the future. The hand now helps indicate how far into the future or the precision of the time element. Neutral, hand forward for something way in the future, something just tomorrow, something now, something today, something yesterday, something way, 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 way back. And so here, with the équilibre and the indicator of the hand, I can help identify the abstract concept of time. This would include words such as tomorrow and past. Okay? Now, another concept that we have to deal with is volume, things such as mass. If something is small, my body is going to take on a bent position and indicate something small, as we learned in object identification before, whereas if it's bigger, it takes on a larger mass, more straight, more upright. And if it's huge, we lean back, we start opening up and extending the arms. Again, the hand being used to indicate the actual size and mass. So in this case, if I have something that's a mass. I can show it by my body position, okay? In contrast, this is the only reason why I bring it up, because if I'm showing the difference between something that is just a small pond, or something that's, oh, look at the lake, or something that's the ocean, I show my body mass can show the mass of the object I'm showing, or identifying with this particular concept identification. Numbers are easy. I have 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. However, if I get above 10, I've got trouble. 15, okay? So what I do instead is I'm able to identify with the number by its size. 10, there were 10 people there. There were 10 and 100 people there. There wasn't 10, there wasn't 100, there were 1,000 people there. Now I can use that same comparison for 1,000 people there, 100,000 people there, 1,000,000 people there. So with the idea of this changing of size, I can identify the value of the number, okay, to whatever it is to the situation. I can create the value by the way I create the rhythm. If it's more important than the enthusiasm of the quickness, something that's just small and delicate by the slowness of it, I can incorporate a comparison of number that way. Now, distance is much like time. I'm going to create distance with my équilibre. If something's far away, like Heather with the spot on her nose, I have to go toward it, and my équilibre goes forward. As the object comes closer, I return to a comfortable space. You're sitting at a comfortable distance, so I stand with a neutral. If you are too close, or if someone gets too close to you while they're talking to you, especially if they have bad breath, you start to back away, okay? And so again, the équilibre helps show the distance. The hand showing how far away the object is, or if it's too close. The rhythm can also, if something is very far away, something's close, it's quicker, like a wall. And I can also show, therefore, how that distance is related to me, not only with the focus of the eyes, but with the body positioning. Another thing is emotion. Now, we've learned attitudes, and the thing that you'll notice that is in common about all those attitudes is whenever an emotion is used, you are going to use the chest. Because of the heart, the breath in there, the chest will either be up if it is considered a positive or a giving emotion. Emotion such as anger still is up because it gives outward, that anger. If it is a collected emotion, that which is drawing in, introverted, then the chest collapses in. So concepts of emotion such as hate or fear or courage are seen principally in the chest and then reverberate through the body. Exterior emotions, interior emotions, as we've already learned basically by the understanding of our body parts. Morality generally has, if you, for instance, people ask, well, what about some kind of sin? How do I show, for instance, lust in comparison to hate? Well, each morality or concept of sin is going to have a center in the body. The eyes for the lust, and the body, the hands, and the pelvis. So for lust, eyes, hands, and pelvis. For things such as pride, which is not only a thing of emotion, but of intellect, it incorporates two centers, the head, which is the center for intelligence, and the chest. Now, the reason why you need to know this is sometimes a word will create a contradiction, such as hypocrisy, where the center shows the emotion here, and the head shows the piety, but the hands try to mask by creating this contradiction. So you can start to see how they work together. We've already learned that the head is for intelligence. We've learned how to manipulate hands to identify an object. Now, the senses, I'd like to go ahead and expound just a little bit on the senses. And for this, I think I'm going to use Marilyn again. And what I want you to do is go through, I'm going to tell you the situations, and we're doing it. Now, you're inside, and you're outside, so there's a park all around you. Just look around you, lots of space. Yeah, you can lean forward. And all of a sudden, to your left comes a middle-sized person, and they're walking by. Nothing really particular about them. But then you hear this big rumble, and it is just a humongous person walking, loping by, boom, and boom, and boom, and boom, with a little teeny dog right behind him. There he goes, that's right. And a butterfly. I don't know where he came from, but there's a butterfly. Maybe you ought to catch it. And not on your nose. Blow it off. Okay, catch it in your hand. Voila, let it go. And it lands on a man walking by. Boom. And he's walking by. There you go. And just behind the man comes a car, and boom, oh, and another car, boom, and 2 cars, boom, boom, and 3 cars, and 4 cars, and 5 cars. All right, and the horse, look, there's a horse. A horse over there. You can see him. All right, now he's on a horse track. I don't know how he got there, but now we're on a horse track. Go ahead. Yeah. Now notice how she's going forward to show it as it goes on the outside of the track, and then she leans back to show it on the inside of the track. It's speeding up. Maybe it falls down. Oh, is the guy getting up and walking over? Is he walking away? No, he's lying there, eh? Okay. I hate when that happens. Now, over there, just over there, you see the kids on the swing? Oh, the mother's going to push it? Okay, now let's make it over here. And the mother's got the little kid on the swing, right? And he's going to push little Johnny. Oh, here you go. And he swings. Now, notice she increases the length of the swing as the mother pushes a little bit harder. And a little bit higher than that on this side, honey. And I hate it when that happens. Honey. Okay, don't worry. Mother will come and get him down, okay? Thank you, honey. You can show through the eyes a lot of different senses. I can hear something like when Heather and I heard something. We can hear something, we can see something by just the focusing of our face and our head. And the audience knows if it's far away or close by body positioning. Now, let's take a little bit of an idea of an illusion, such as a ball. I've got a ball. I'm playing with the ball. Now, notice the rhythm here is ralentir. I take it, catch it, and absorb the shock. So you can see, now let's just fast without resistance, you can see how the rhythm is used in the illusion. Throw it up. Now, if I want that to disappear, I might go through like a certain kind of gentle saccade. I've got the ball. Well, let's expand the ball size. Now, to do that, I grab here and then a little bit out and twist it. And I can do just the opposite to bring it in. One hand stays constant and one hand moves out. I got the ball here, and it pops. There's a tuck, and that's like our saccade. Okay. Now, take the ball and make it disappear with a nice little series of jolts. Oh, and reappear. Shrink it down. Okay, change it into a hat. And we got the hat, right? We've already learned how to do that. And hat. And by rhythm, I can show something disappearing or reappearing, or making it to a ball, melting, disappearing, and then reemerging with different rhythms. Okay? Hold this, honey. Thanks. Good. Tell you what, Why don't we go ahead and take another break and take 5. Good, take a break. That was fun, honey.